Amandla, I never heard of the word Amandla before coming to South Africa. It was when I got here in my previous, my former university, University of Aotearoa. It was a language that people use, especially when students gather to, maybe for toi or politica or whatever. People use the word Amandla, Amandla. And from there, I got to know that it actually meant power to the people. And to me, I felt Amanda is a word, is a single word with multiple meanings and very fantastic interpretation. When you say people, power belongs to the people. It means people are empowered. People actually can do certain things, if they have this understanding. And permit me today to actually center my speech, what I'll be talking today, on this word Amandla. Then you will say that, what will a foreigner tell us about Amandla? What will he say about how they understand? But then I think engaging with people and engaging with ideas and interacting with this particular topic, I should be able to have few things to offer this audience, and then something that we together can work on to actually better our lives and our society. So Amanda will mean having an understanding that our differences are not deficiencies, but they are the traits we need for maximum efficiency to better the laws of our society. If we know, like differences is everywhere. We have differences in nature. We have, I've told you my story about, differences, my background and all that. And I believe that even for those of us here seated, we have our own story. But, it's easy for us to want to look at those differences as deficiency. As if I had found myself in a different environment, maybe things would have been this. If I've done this, maybe things would have been this. But those things should not be seen as deficiency, but they are things that actually should give us efficiency to better the lot of our society. And when I think about differences, I love to think in terms of what nature have to offer us. What nature has in store for us. Think about the biodiversity. Think about, the different beautiful scenery that you see. And think about the animals. Think about terrestrial and aquatic environment. And it is the way nature designs things. So we are different because nature actually is more beautiful in differences. So having this understanding should be able to help us to have a different perspective as to how we use our Amandla. So Amandla could mean appreciating the uniqueness of our planet and playing our part to protect it because we have the power. So that means to me that we must not kill the rhinos. And if you see someone trying to do that, we must discourage them. Why? Because we have the power to do it. We need these things around us. They are the things that make our planet so beautiful. And I like to tell people I'm so passionate about three major things. And I prepare this speech around those three things. And as we go further, they will unfold. I'm passionate about people. People are so central to my life. Certain things I've got involved with, and as you're going to see. Passionate about the planet. Also passionate about politics. How politics could be used to actually influence the society to improve the lot of our people. So all this thing works together. So Amandla will mean that we appreciate the uniqueness of our planet. You don't set the bush on fire, you don't cut, you are even sensitive to the way you print stuff. Just the way you use papers, because you know where this thing comes from. So it makes us to want to appreciate our planet and really position ourselves to celebrate the beauty it offers us. So, Amandla means taking personal responsibility for whatever is wrong in our past, while leveraging the advantages inherent in our differences to shape the present and remodel the future. It's easy to blame the past, to blame what has gone wrong in our past. We might not have really the power to actually correct our past, but we are living in the present. I like to think of Amandla as helping us to take personal responsibility. I've seen people blaming their past. I've seen people blaming their parents. Because why is it that my parent was not, the president of a country, or maybe a minister, or this and all that? Taking personal responsibility, even though you are not directly involved. And I think for me, that is one of my It's one of my arguments, one of my points of debate when it comes to the issue of environment, that the fact that some people actually were responsible for the pollution that are, historical emission, it doesn't mean that as Africans in this part of the world we must not do something about it. It's part of taking responsibility. So Amandla means power belongs to the people. It means we have been empowered to actually play our part to do things on our own. It also means, it makes to us, for those of us in this part of the world, because of the past era, the apartheid era and all that, we're happy those things are gone. It's now there for us to begin to assume responsibility for whatever might have gone wrong in the past and begin to take our place to effect positive changes even as we remodel the future. With Amandla comes freedom. We must not abuse the freedom, and for most of us in this part of the world, the freedom we talk about was fought for. As a matter of fact, some people died because of this, freedom. Some people sacrificed their happiness, So we must have an understanding when we talk about Amandla. Why? Because I see this gathering as a very great privilege, gathering people together, young and old, to hear what we have to say. And I think for me, this message is, telling me to actually personalize the word Amandla. It is the way I understand it. You might have a different interpretation, but I think that it makes sense to me if we begin to look at Amandla. Freedom comes with it. When you say power has now has been given to the people. So, but there is tendency for people to abuse their freedom, and that is it. So, but one thing that I've realized about freedom, having freedom, is that with freedom comes responsibility. And like they say, it is responsibility that makes someone responsible. And you see a lot of people in the name of saying, no, we now have the power, we are free, we want to abuse this freedom. So we must be wary of that and guard against such tendency. Abusing our freedom in the name of Amandla could be tarnished, tantamount to tarnishing the image and the message of our past era. So, and I think that should be one of the take-home message for us. If we have this understanding, for our continent, for our country, and every one of us, one of the reasons why, what gladdens my heart as I look at the faces of people in this audience is the fact that I look at the demography of people here that are like, middle-aged, younger-age people. I see a future for our continent, Africa. I see a future for this country, South Africa. But we need to understand the message that we have in Amandla. So Amandla will mean that we should not, it doesn't mean that we have to deny or pretend that the differences are not there. Those things are there. It will tell us that we should identify with those differences and position ourselves to take advantage of the opportunities they present to us. I think that there's no point that we are different, is a fact, but that we need to actually see how we can leverage those differences to actually make an impact. It presents to us a very great opportunity to stop blaming the past. I'll be fast now. So it's also talk about leaving a legacy behind. And when I talk about leaving a legacy behind, I want to briefly just tell us what I've been involved with coming to South Africa. Like we have this movement we call the Planet Here movement, and it involves younger generation of people, and it's so fascinating how we gather people together to actually empower them with information that will make them to be responsible future leaders in aspects relating to the environment and the understanding of earth system science. And we're involved in a lot of activities, going on field trip, giving them the message, and making sure that we raise a generation of young people that will be able to give us what we need in this generation. And I'm so glad that this kind of movement started here in South Africa. We've been able to cover a greater part of Southern Africa and still moving, in other part of Africa. It's so great, and I want to say that because this is such a great vision, and behind every great vision, there must be a visionary. Once upon a time, long, long ago, there was a young man that had a dream for young people, young generation of people, and he said that I want to encourage these people. I want to, how can we prepare them for the challenges ahead? How can we make them to begin to appreciate the planet Earth and have an understanding of Earth system science? His name is George Philander, a scientist, a professor of no mean reputation, who actually took it upon himself to have this dream. And to me, I think he's a man that actually understands what it means when we talk about Amandla. It means leaving a legacy behind. So we must begin to look at this thing from an African perspective. And I would just want to say that we need to actually bring our resources together, bring our talents together, bring everything we have together. And Amanda should remind us that this is a rainbow nation. And we have our uniqueness. Thank you.